Welcome to Conflict News 24. Two main news stories for you. First one is from Russia-Ukraine conflict. Russia, since February when it attacked Ukraine, has been claiming that NATO troops are part of the war, that NATO troops are on the ground and they are supporting Ukrainian forces. Ukraine denies, NATO denies, and today Russian media shared a piece of evidence that NATO troops have been involved in the war in support of Ukraine. Secondly, viewers, Nagorno-Karabakh conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia. We have a new story about this conflict where for the last 3 days, Lachin corridor is closed. Armenia to Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenia to Stepanakert road is closed. Who closed this road? This is the only road available for Armenians living in Nagorno-Karabakh to connect with Armenia. Russian peacekeepers are there in Nagorno-Karabakh. Both countries, Azerbaijan and Armenia, have taken different positions about what is happening on this road, Armenia-Stepanakert road. Is there fear of resurgence of what happened in 2020 when two countries fought a 44-day long war over Nagorno-Karabakh? Firstly, viewers, Russia-Ukraine conflict. When Russia attacked Ukraine in February this year, after that, we saw that NATO, EU, all started supporting Ukraine. That support was in the form of financial aid, in the form of military assistance, weaponry from US, from NATO countries, from EU. All types of weapons have been arriving in Ukraine. Thirdly, intelligence. We know that Western countries are sharing intelligence with Ukrainian government, Ukrainian forces, and this intelligence is helping Ukrainian military a lot. And obviously, on diplomatic front as well, we saw that entire EU, NATO, US stood with Ukraine. But NATO never admitted that its soldiers were on the ground in Ukraine to support Ukrainian forces. Though Russia has been claiming since February that NATO troops were in fighting in support of Ukrainian forces. And Russia has been saying that this is basically war between Russia and NATO, Russia and rest of the countries which support NATO, support US positions against Russia. Now, for the first time, Russian media is sharing some evidence. How convincing is this evidence? Russian media claims that a British newspaper, The Times, has published a report. The report mentions a statement of a British Royal Marine commander. His name is Lieutenant General Robert McGowan. Robert McGowan says that in April this year, a 45 commando group of Royal Marine conducted a special operation in Ukraine. In April, war broke out in February. In April, British Royal Marines conducted a special operation in Ukraine. And that operation was highly sensitive operation, quote unquote. Highly sensitive operation with huge political and military repercussions. This is the piece of evidence shared by Russian media, that since a commander of Royal Navy, British Navy, is confirming that Their commandos conducted an operation in Ukraine in April. It means that British troops were part of the war against Russia. Though this evidence is not detailed evidence, it's just a statement of a British officer. But Russia is using it as a way of putting pressure upon NATO, upon EU, upon US, that NATO troops are fighting in support of Ukrainian forces. NATO denies, US denies, EU denies as well. But these parties, EU, US, NATO, they're providing all types of support for Ukraine. Without their support, Ukraine was not in a position to continue its resistance against Russian attack. Secondly, towards Azerbaijan, Armenia. The two countries locked in a dispute over Nagorno-Karabakh for around 3 decades. They fought a war in 2020. I covered that war in detail on my other channel, My Views and News. Read hundreds of videos back then, I remember. Back then, Azerbaijan tried to retake Nagorno-Karabakh, which is internationally part of Azerbaijan. But it was under the control of Armenian forces and Nagorno-Karabakh's self-declared sort of administration. Self-declared independent administration, you can say. Back then, we saw that Azerbaijan managed to retake some Azerbaijani territories which were under Armenian control. And secondly, parts of Nagorno-Karabakh, like Shusha city, also came back under Azerbaijani control. But still, some areas like Stepanakert, Lachin, they could not be taken by Azerbaijanis. And then, after a 44-day long war, on the 9th of November 2020, in Russia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Russia signed a ceasefire agreement. Russian peacekeepers were deployed to Nagorno-Karabakh. So it was a sort of neutral area. It became a neutral area, though majority of people in Nagorno-Karabakh is Armenians. Russian peacekeepers deployed, but since then we have been seeing a resurgence of tensions off and on. 2 days ago, some Azerbaijani activists blocked the only available road for Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh to connect with Armenia. And that road is Goris-Stepanakert road, Lachin corridor. Lachin corridor was blocked by Azerbaijani environmentalists who said that illegal mining was being conducted in Nagorno-Karabakh. That Armenians were stealing the minerals, the metals of Nagorno-Karabakh. Russian peacekeepers were implicitly supporting this theft. They protested. Russian peacekeepers tried to clear the road. They could not. They erected tents there. They blocked the road. There was no Azerbaijani military intervention. Azerbaijani forces then reportedly arrived on the scene. Russian peacekeepers were there too. Road could not be opened. The road is still blocked. 72 hours have passed. Lachin corridor blocked. Goris-Stepanakert road is blocked. Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, though they have access to connect with Azerbaijan, but their connection with Armenia is cut off because their connection with Armenia is through this road. Only one road available, one road which can be used for continuous supplies of different things to people in Nagorno-Karabakh. Road is cut off. Armenia today, Armenian parliament adopted a resolution today, and the parliament said that Azerbaijan was blackmailing. It was violating the trilateral agreement signed in November 2020. Azerbaijan had cut off supply of gas to the people of Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan was committing genocide. It was planning to commit genocide of Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh. Azerbaijan denies. Azerbaijan says that mineral resources of Nagorno-Karabakh are being stolen by people close to Armenian government. And this is violation of the agreement signed in November. Though the agreement makes it clear that Lachin corridor will not be blocked. Another important thing is that the agreement of 2020 stipulated that route through Armenia will be built for giving Azerbaijan access to Nakhchivan. Nakhchivan is Azerbaijani exclave. Between Nakhchivan and Azerbaijan is Armenian territory. The road could not be built. So transit to Nakhchivan through Armenia from Azerbaijan could not be completed. That is why perhaps Azerbaijan is now suspending, it is cutting off Lachin corridor. Tensions there, international community intervening. We saw statements from US State Department, from France. They are urging Azerbaijan to open Lachin corridor. But so far, corridor is still blocked. Armenian government is trying to put pressure upon Russians that they should ensure that road is opened. Russia is already preoccupied with what is happening in Ukraine. Can Russians put pressure upon Azerbaijan to open this road? That remains to be seen. Road is still blocked. Goris-Stepanakert road. Thank you for watching.